All right. Chrysler Town and Country. This is 2014, but I believe this model goes from 2011 all the way to 2016. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that though. What's going on with it? I have a massive leak, oil leak. Let me take this thing off so we can see what we got. This cover. Just take it off. Put it to the side. See what we got. Down here we have some leaking going on. If you can tell, I did wash this already. I got a hose, got in there and sprayed it down because it was bad. But as you can tell, it has oil all over. So once this happened, people believe it's actually the transmission cooling. Like nobody exactly know what fluid is actually going on. What's happening is that we had this piece that, if I'm not mistaken, is called the oil filter housing, which is this piece. So I bought it brand new. And this is what it looks like. So this is the oil filter. This is where the oil filter goes, right here. And this whole piece is the oil filter housing. And this piece up here is the oil cooling. So coolant runs through this part up here, while oil runs through this part below. And that piece in the car is underneath the manifold. This is the intake manifold right here. I just got my hands all dirty. I haven't even started. Intake manifold right here. So we had to take all that out to get to this other piece right here, which is the housing. What's it? The oil filter housing. That's what it's called. What I heard, I'm not sure. This is the first time I'm gonna do this job. What I heard is that piece is actually metal. Originally, originally it's metal plastic, and these replacement pieces are actually made of metal. And what happened, the reason why it leaks is because these seals right here. These ones already have the seals installed. Those seals right here, they tend to leak. And inside here, I would assume they have all the seals, and this is where coolant actually start leaking inside. I would assume this gap, they have all the seals that actually leaks too. Definitely a good idea. It takes a lot of pictures. Take a lot of pictures if you're gonna do this yourself. Yeah, on this side we have some vacuum lines. I'm just gonna remove. This is one. This is another one I gotta remove. Just start taking things apart. Definitely have to remove all of that. Got it. Cracked piece of plastic right here. All right. So as this intake manifold, let me explain a couple of things. See, when this thing was on, I had these screws I got 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we can see that. There's one more screw down there. 3, 4. Then we got 5, 6, and 7. There's one more down there. 7. And then we have this bracket. Oh, I'm gonna fall down. We have these brackets over here. These up front that were attached to these 2 bolts. So if you can see 1 and 2 bolts, and this other bracket on the side. This metal bracket right here. So you gotta loosen it up from down here. There is a 13 millimeter down here, which is this bolt, and then 10 millimeters that goes to these 2 holes, which are these 2 right here. You gotta take all that off to actually get this intake manifold out. Now let's see what we got next. As we can see, these are pretty good still, but I will probably replace them. And let's see what else we got. Okay, so now with the intake manifold out, what's next? We have to remove this piece they call lower intake manifold, but we do have to be careful because these are, if I'm not mistaken, these are the fuel lines. All right, let me show you how I took that off. So these little plastic things. So this is the connector to the coil, the spark plug coil right here. When you're gonna take it off, what you wanna do is actually pull this back. Pull it, push it down on the back, and then pull. And these ones, to take it off, this red thing, you have to pull it up because they kind of like seal, or they close when you push it down. So you gotta push this red thing up. Once it's up, you're gonna push this black thing in. That's what I was doing with my green tool. I was gently just pushing right there, and you do not want to break any of these connectors. Let's keep going. It seems like I got more screws to finish taking that off. I'm gonna try not to take this piece off, which is the fuel line. I got some more screws to take off. These are 8 millimeters too, 8 millimeters. Or you could use the what they call it, the T20. It seems like this had to come out too. It's on the way, so yeah. Alright, at least disconnect the injectors, the fuel injectors. Maybe not the coils, the spark plugs coil. Let's see. Alright, now we gotta be careful with the fuel lines. We don't break it or nothing. See how we can put this to the side. Water in there. Water in there. You can tell I got this piece out. Now this is the piece we're talking about. That's your filter right here. So that's the whole filter housing with coolant. That's called the oil coolant. So you can tell there is a lot of oil down there, a lot of fluids. Sit on this side. That's where the leak's coming from, which it comes down all the way to the transmission, and it looks like we have a massive transmission leak. And this is the real problem. So let's figure this out. So I don't know if you remember from earlier in the video, I was showing these gaskets over here. Just by looking at the whole thing, it seems like we do have some gaskets down here too, which are in this package. So that's one thing I think we should do. Cover these up, these holes. You don't want anything falling there. But yeah, these are the gaskets I'm talking about. I don't know how well you can see it in the video. Yep. These gaskets right here, they come in the package. And that's great. You're gonna be replacing that too. I'm gonna be replacing that too. They're oily, not sure where that's coming from, but they are pretty flat. They shouldn't be like that. E8. It's I don't know how well you can see that. All right, got this piece out. This is what happened. So that's what the leaking is happening right there. Couple of things now that I had it off. So this is the piece. Gonna finish taking it apart. I guess I got a couple of connections over here still, a hose, and yes, electric connection. And let's go from that, but that's a lot of coolant going in there. So now with the piece off, let's take a look. That's coolant right there. A lot of coolant, a lot of oil. And I believe I should have drained the coolant and the oil before this step. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. All right, after loosening up the bowl, let's go ahead and take that oil out of there. Whoa, yes, that's a lot of coolant that's coming out of it. To the coolant part. So to get the coolant out, I'm gonna give you a couple of shots so you guys get to see where I'm at. But this is the reservoir for the coolant. And right below it is that nozzle right there. We're just gonna open that up and the coolant is just gonna come out. This is the reservoir. It will be down there, just right down there. Just wanted to give you a view about it. So let's check these two pieces together now that I have it off. I just took this out of here, these connectors. So they look the same, and I'm glad they bring the bulbs with it, because these bolts right here are not coming out. So this is a whole piece, which is plastic, and this is the new, it's metal. There is one detail though, right here, this part right here, that's the coolant, the oil coolant section. So that's literally the section that cools down the oil, or at least a bit, I would assume. And I don't know if you can tell, but right here there are some screws, and the reason why I'm pointing that out is because in between here there are some gaps like this one. There are some seals that are supposed to be there. They look like this one. They look like two of these put together, two of those little squares put together. So I'm just gonna trust the manufacturer and leave that, not even mess with it. All right. Time to put this back. Like I said before, there's supposed to be some gasket in between these two pieces. You can tell there's some balls in there. And I'm gonna assume they are in place. I'm gonna assume they are in there. But before I put that on, I will show you the cleaning I had to do in there. Enough to show. So I cleaned it the best I could. Tried to get all the moist out, all the fluids out of there. That's what it looks like now. So let's go ahead and start putting things back together. So at this point, replacing these gaskets over here. I see a little good comfortable here. Make sure we clean these up the best we can. Since we got these gaskets, why not replace them? Always a good idea. Let's go ahead and put these gaskets on. Make sure they get in there so they don't fall off when you flip this over. They do get in there nice and tight because of this little rivet they have. I don't know if you can see it from the video, but they do get in there. Right. Now let's flip this over. Always watching that line right there. Whoa, and before we get that in there, let's take this paper out. It would not be a good idea to leave this in. Alright. Shaking these. And definitely in place. Let's just sit it down. And we'll start putting those balls together. Alright, we got the bottom portion of the intake manifold down. You can see in the video how I put the balls in like a zigzag. And that way the gasket kind of like wiggle in the right way. I guess. Let's go ahead and keep going. We're gonna replace these gaskets. But let's go ahead and start plugging things back in. Remember, we took these plugs out. Just gonna put it back in. Make sure they click. I don't know if you can hear the click in the video, but they are clicking. There is a red little piece we gotta press down too. Don't forget about this red part. You gotta push that in. Back in place. I don't know if we can hit the clip, but there, clicking in place. There we go. Alright, we got that down. Let's go ahead and take this off. Put the new ones in. So put this new one in. Get the new nice and tight. Get the intake manifold in. Alright, this is the intake manifold. Let's just go ahead and get it in there. Let's see what happened. There we go. Just gotta be careful not to knock this manifold out of the place. Alright. Awesome, we got this on. Now we gotta screw it back in. Remember, we got a couple of bolts right here. We got one bolt over here. Let me show you in there. A closer shot. All right, so I don't know if you can see those brackets right there. That's one. That's what I was working on, lining up. That right there. So this screw comes with that plastic, with this big piece, and you gotta get it through a hole. And this one right here too. This one right here, the same. That's the one, and that's the two. And remember, back here we had a bracket that we can't forget. We have to put it in place. Remember, we took a 13 millimeter from down below here, and the two 8 or 10 millimeters. Yeah, they were 10 millimeters from right here. So we just had to like kind of like get it back in place, just like that. Go ahead and do it right now. There we go. So now I gotta put the 2 screws in there, and so make sure to screw all of those things. That's one right here, and the little ones in the holes. Got one down here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's down there. The light is not helping me right now. I got another one down here, another one down there. I gotta make sure we get those too. So let's get that done. We got this bracket. We talked about it earlier. So it takes 2 of these. And the 16 millimeter. Go ahead and put it on. Now let's hook up all these hoses and cables over here. Let's go ahead. Now when you're doing this, you put the cables back over it and the hoses, and they will tell you where they go, pretty much. So just make sure to click them in. Make sure they click. We got everything connected again. Let's go ahead and put this cover. But before we do this, we have to do the filter. This is new. There is no filter in there. So I do have to do the filter and oil, since we drain it out, and some coolant too. Since we drain it out, oil, filter, coolant. Either way was due for the oil change, so that works. Let's go ahead and get that and continue with the video. All right, final step. Let's get that filter in place. I'll get some oil in the car, some filter, and I should have bought this. I did not buy it, but once you get this out, why not replace it? But let's get this open. This is a 1 inch. Whoa! It does come with a filter from the manufacturer. Oh wow! I'm surprised. It actually comes with a filter from the manufacturer. The piece actually comes with a filter. Oh wow, that is amazing. Well, at least you know how to take the cap off. And I just go ahead and put it back in place, I guess. Always make sure it has this little rubber right here, this gasket. And when you buy the filter, they come with this gasket and this little gasket right there. Just make sure you replace those so you don't have any leaks. Once we have that, just go ahead and close this. That's in there. Let's go ahead and tighten it. Again, this is 8 millimeters. This doesn't need to be too tight. Snuggle it in. I got this vacuum hose back in place. That goes here, and just kind of like follow the trail. Put that over here. This other bottom, this other slip over here. And let's get some oil in. Alright. 5W20, that's the type of oil. Let's put this to the side. Get a funnel in there. And these engines, they get 6 quarter. This engine, they get 6 quarts. Make sure you get full synthetic. Always full synthetic. And don't forget to add your coolant too. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it to that video. After that, I will just turn the car on, check for some leaks. Make sure there's no more leaks. And that's it.